Annie Box 1, Annie Box 2, Annie Box 3. Eventually, we realized it went up to Annie Box 7. Inside these boxes was the most delicate, complete setting of floral china. It was so fragile that Annie's family had taken the time to pack each piece individually, each carefully enveloped in pillowy tissue. Annie's boxes arrived in our atrium this August when Temple Israel collected housewares for the Ukrainian community. Your response to that request for donations was huge. And Annie was not the only one who gave us a full set of china, or flatware, or glassware, or cookware. People donated 2 toasters at a time, and they still had one at home. I brought 3 vacuums. Who needs 3 vacuums? Nobody needs 3 vacuums. On that day, so many people said to me, I have my own china, my parents' china, my in-laws' china. I've tried to give it to my kids, and they won't take it. And at least we can argue that dishes and vacuums serve a purpose, so over time, okay, maybe we've accumulated a few more than we need. But we all have items in our storage rooms that are completely useless. We don't even remember why they are there or how they got there. I have a wall-sized picture of Kwame Kilpatrick in my storage room. I don't have an answer, don't ask, it's true. People were so grateful for the opportunity to donate. The needs of the Ukrainian community gave people the motivation they needed to clean house. They needed a push, a good reason. Helping refugees fill their homes with new and beautiful things was a good reason to purge. They got to clear their cabinets and do a mitzvah at the same time. Everybody won. Like how the collection encouraged people to face their clutter, Rosh Hashanah is pushing us to face the clutter in our souls, the clutter that's accumulated over the past year. Now, if you ask me, I would much rather dive headfirst into a many bins of workbooks and noodle necklaces than dive into my own soul. Talk about clutter. In truth, all of our souls are teeming with the accumulation of the good, the bad, the embarrassing, the disappointing moments from the year that has just passed. And sure, mixed into all of those are rewarding moments and celebrations. But usually, those are already tucked away and packaged, just like Annie's 7 boxes of china. We know what to do with those. We protect them and keep them shiny and dust-free. It's the rest of the stuff that challenges us. And sorry, but I won't be organizing a collection for all the emotional things that you would rather not deal with. There isn't a U-Haul big enough to collect our traumas, grief, procrastination, and whatever else is stuffed inside of us. And no, there is no such thing as junk luggers for the soul. So today, I want you to imagine your skeletal structure as a shelving unit where all your actions, words, and emotions for the past year are stored. Close your eyes if you need to. Each rib is a shelf. What do you see? Do you look at these skeletal shelving units and wonder how you've been carrying around all that stuff all year long? Does it look heavy? How much serves you? I include myself with those of you who answered, my shelves are very heavy, and so little of it serves me. I also include myself in the category of people who realized just how much of other people's stuff they're carrying around as well. My skeletal shelves are overflowing and overwhelming. I've got a huge bin of anxiety and worry about my kids over here. I got a stash of fear of missing out over here. And there is a whole shelf dedicated to my seemingly unbreakable devotion to Diet Coke. All of our skeletal shelving put together wouldn't be enough room to store the threat of rising anti-Semitism in the country, or the protests that have been happening in Israel for the past year and a half. Do you have a clear picture of the bin where you have stashed the political divide in our country? Or where on your skeletal shelves you have put the climate change and the climate crisis? Or did you shove them so far in the back that you would hope that they would just somehow resolve themselves or magically disappear? If you did, I promise you, you are not alone. It's a lot, and it can be scary. It's easier to ignore than to tackle. Just shut the door, right? But friends, we have comfort, we have Rosh Hashanah. Today is essentially a holiday when God is saying to us, I have given you this time to look inside. Use this time to examine your stuff. Remember how it got there. Decide if it's worth keeping. And if it's not serving you, whatever it is, be it jealousy, failure, disappointment, missed opportunity, whatever it is, decide if it is worth keeping. Time to work through, time to take action, or time to just let it go. This morning we read the Akedah, the story of the binding of Isaac. It is a test of Abraham's faith in God. Would he sacrifice his son, his only son, the one he loves? Ultimately, we know that he did not end up killing Isaac. But are we to believe that for the rest of their lives, the trauma of that horrible test did not affect them? Imagine the most terrifying moment in your life. I know mine. I can assure you it has taken up space in my skeletal shelving ever since. The binding of Isaac was Abraham's most terrifying moment. But did he carry those feelings of fear and confusion with him? Or did he somehow purge them once it was over? And what was his relationship with God after that? How could God make this request of a father? I don't know if Abraham and Isaac ever went to counseling together or if Abraham and God had a serious one-on-one, but here's what we do know. Abraham dies and the covenant is secure. Isaac marries, has children, and his grandchildren end up becoming the tribes of Israel. I believe it was the covenant itself that helped heal Abraham and Isaac's trauma and allowed them to move beyond that awful experience. God fulfills the covenant and makes Abraham's descendants as numerous of the stars of the sky through the son that he did not sacrifice. We read this story today to not only be reminded to take stock of some of the most difficult moments in our own lives and the imprint they leave on our souls, but also to be reminded of that covenant made with Abraham. It's the same one that we share with God. And incredibly, thousands of years apart, the proof of this is the unbroken bond. It's the same for us as it was for Abraham, the ram. God sent a ram to sacrifice in Isaac's place, and on Rosh Hashanah, we hear the blast of the ram's horn. Through space and time, we are connected directly to this test of Abraham's faith. Think about the difficult things you have been through in this past year. Were you tested in ways you could never fathom? Hearing about our forefathers' ultimate test today helps us look back and consider all the challenges we are carrying with us, their impacts, and what remnants of these situations we have stashed away on our skeletal shelves. Today we are all Abraham, but thank God we don't have to decide to sacrifice our kids, though I imagine some of you have been tempted. Just as Abraham did, we say, Hineni, I am here. We are here, ready for the test of examining what we carry and how it affects us, our relationships, and our faith. When we hear the sound of the shofar, did you hear God's voice saying back to us, Hineni, I am still here, and I will always be here. Now, the difference between me and Abraham is I often scream at God when things go sideways. I encourage you to do the same. Scream at God if you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you're feeling lost. Debate God if you want. Make your case. When we are being pushed to our limits, we are free to push back. Scream and yell. God can take it. But don't lose faith. Faith may not work miracles, but faith weaves a safety net that prevents us from falling into the abyss. Because the same God that put Abraham through the test, that sometimes tests us, is the same God that also carried us on eagle's wings out of slavery and still carries us when we just don't have any strength of our own. And remember, it's the same God we thank and praise and bless when things are going well. Rosh Hashanah is meant to be joyous, full of apples and honey and kugel with raisins. But in truth, the work of Rosh Hashanah is not easy, because being human isn't easy. Rosh Hashanah is called Yom HaZikaron, the Day of Remembrance. Rosh Hashanah is about memory, memories of you and only you. It is a holiday of your rearview mirror. Yom Kippur is about your memory of you and the people around you. First, we wipe the shelves clean, the ones with our own stuff and our stuff with God. And once that weight is lifted, we turn to the people we love and we do the work of clearing the shelves we share, so that they no longer bow. Today, when you are sitting around your holiday table, if you feel comfortable, share what you are willing to purge and what you are wanting to hold on to. Make a pact with someone you trust that you will help each other become lighter, less burdened versions of yourself. And have a laugh when you're doing it, because I bet you will come across some outrageous stuff. Pack the good stuff like Annie's family packed her fragile china, and feel good about letting the rest go. I might never know where that portrait of Kwame Kilpatrick came from, but I make you this promise: it will be part of my purge. It's not serving me, it's not on my wall. If you want to hear about the emotional purge I'm undertaking, or tell me about yours, let's go to coffee and talk. I will meet you anywhere but my basement storage room. This year, 5,784, may your literal shelves and your figurative shelves overflow with nothing but love and honey. Shana Tova.